What does it take to keep a community safe? Is the campaign against loiterers or so-called tambays one way to go? Good evening, I'm Pia Hontiveros. This is On the Record. Joining us in this episode, Chief Superintendent Guillermo Eleazar, the Chief of the National Capital Region Police Office, Edmund Abisam is President of the Liga ng mga Barangay, and Gwen Pimentel Gana, she is a Commissioner of the Commission on Human Rights. Thank you very much for joining us. General Eleazar, let's begin with you. Let's go straight to this two so far, 2, 3, 4. Ang dami ng reklamong pumapasok. So we have the case of Genesis Argoncillo, Genesis Tisoy Argoncillo, Novaliches, Quezon City. He was, he died eventually. And then there is another case that we're going to show you in just a bit, video that originally was uploaded on Facebook and then tinanggal ng nag-post. He took it down dahil natatakot siya. No? But first, sir, can you tell us what happened to this case of Genesis Argoncillo?
Yes, for the case of Genesis Argoncillo, actually he was not part of our operations against violators of city ordinance. So actually it was a police response to the request of concerned citizen regarding alarming scandal. So he was not
what was the
arrested.
alarming scandal that he was creating? Kaguluhan lang.
Yes.
Like what? What was he doing?
Well,
was he drunk? Was he under the influence of something? What?
Yeah, I believe that there was a commotion and brawl. That's why the police responded to this. So it's not actually an operation for this ordinances.
Okay, so he was taken. He was taken to the police.
Yes,
sa
he was
precinto.
arrested, and the case has been filed against him. But eventually, he died.
Yeah.
So investigation now is being conducted, but because of the situation, the CPNP has directed for the relief of the station commander as well as the duty jail guard on that particular time.
Jail guard, sir, but it's not really a jail because this is a precinct.
Yes, but the same. We call it jailer.
Jailer.
The one who's supervising the
detention cell ng PNP station.
Yes, the station.
Sino po yung station commander, sir, na na-relieve?
Superintendent Carlito Grijaldo.
Wow, Lieutenant Colonel. And you're relieving them because you want an investigation and?
Yes, because initially it was they've said that the cause is just breathing problem. So he died without the family is alleging that there was
nabugbog daw siya. Oo, because earlier na-interview yung kapatid, sabi ng kapatid ng sister na he told her when he was still alive that he had been beaten up, but he did not say by whom.
Yes. Well, actually, we have investigation ongoing right now to find out whether the allegation is that nabugbog nung detainees, but just the same, because yung unang statement na sinabi na walang bugbog, yun naging reason natin para, pending the result of the official investigation, na-relieve na natin itong station commander and the jailer. Yung
station commander po, yung Lieutenant Colonel yun, siya po yung nagsabi na it was just a matter of congestion, yun lang ang naging problema kaya.
Accordingly, he based it on the report of the physician who conducted the initial examination.
Oh, because there is a death certificate. The death certificate very clearly says multiple blunt force trauma.
Yeah, the death certificate just came out today.
Yes.
But the initial examination of the doctor says that hindi naman daw nabugbog, something like that. So that was the basis of the station commander. But the point is, pending the result of the investigation, it is the instruction of the GPNP for the relief of them.
Okay. And, whether or not yung police ang bumugbog or detainee, may responsibility pa rin? Ganun po ba?
Una, the jail facility, the detention cell, actually is under the supervision of the assigned duty jailer. So supposed to be, dapat nalalaman niya nangyari doon. Kung meron mang kaguluhan, dapat alam niya yun.
Okay. So yung sinabing yung earlier na sinabi sa statement ng Quezon City Police na because of congestion and like our George Kila said reported earlier, it was a cell that's good for like 6 to 8 people, but there were like more than 100 men inside. It wasn't just a matter of congestion, hindi lang masikip. Ganun po ba?
Well, it seems that based on the medical certificate is nabugbog siya. Kaya ngayon yung ating iniimbestigahan ngayon, whether kung sino nagbubog sa kanya at malaman natin kung sino responsible for that.
Okay. We're going to look at another video of another case, no? And actually, this was uploaded on Facebook. And then yung nag-upload na contact mo ng CNN Philippines, sir, and I want you to see it and also... So apparently this is CCTV. So that's the young man. Wala po siyang shirt. He stays out. He steps out of his house. And then we have someone approaching him on a motorcycle. You can see the markings on the shirt sa likod. Quezon City Police, kinuha siya. Okay, we're going to talk to him in a while. We're not going to use his real name. But before we speak to him, sir, I wanted to ask if you had seen this. This was going around on Facebook.
Well, this is the first
your
time.
attention
Yeah, this is the first time that I've seen this video. Pero makita natin kasi doon, well, hindi naman siya lumabas ng kalsada. So I believe na it should be this sound discretion of the police officer not to arrest him. Or maybe kinosyonal lang. Diba? But not to arrest him. Actually, yung ating kasing ginagawa, it's not operation against tambay, but operation against violators of city ordinances and laws.
Okay.
So, hindi tayo pwede magdampot ng kahit sino kung wala namang violation. Just like what happened in the Makati. There
Yes,
was one
in Guadalupe,
report, yes, in Guadalupe, that itong call center agents were, arrested or invited, by the way, by the police to the police station. Una, wala na dapat yung invitation. If they're not violating any ordinance, hindi dapat sila arrestuin or imbitahan.
So hindi pwedeng nakatayo sila dyan dahil nakatayo because they are standing there, hindi pwedeng dahilan yun.
Hindi pwede yun.
Kasi pwedeng naghihintay ng Grab, naghihintay ng
yes.
jeep, ng bus, naghihintay ng kaibigan, halimbawa. But anyway, before we speak to the young man who was in that video earlier, I wanted to get a opening statements now from Commissioner Gwen Pimentel Gana and Mr. Abisamis about, your concerns about this, ma'am.
Well, after hearing Chief Eleazar, we're very happy that at least they're doing their best to address the problem. And this is an action that we are actually expecting from the police in terms of a quick action that would address the concerns of the citizens. Because by conducting their own investigation, they are actually admitting that there are things that need to be addressed. And it's a welcome development.
Okay, briefly, Mr. Abisamis, we're going to speak to Jason now. Medyo low-bat daw siya ngayon eh.
Well, the barangay officials are the force multipliers of the law enforcers, especially of the PNP. So we participate in law enforcement to keep the peace and order, but as far as operational aspect is concerned, we do not have a role to play as far as that is concerned.
Right, you're not armed as of
Yes,
now.
yes.
Okay, we're going to speak now to Jason. He was the young man who was on that video just a while ago. It was he who uploaded that video. Jason?
Yes po.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. We understand why you don't want us to use your real name, but I want you to know that General Eleazar, the NCRPO Regional Director, is here and he wants to listen to what you have to say. Gwen Pimentel, Commission on Human Rights, Commissioner, is also here. So is Ms. Abisamis of the Liga ng mga Barangay. So can you tell us, Jason, ano ba nangyari sa'yo?
Bali po, biglang ako ulit sa bahay. So, tumas lang po ako sa pakarapin ko yung bahay namin. So, bigla ako ulit sa mga polis. Nabulit nga ako na kung labakan lang ito.
Palagi mong ginagawa ito, lumalabas ka ng bahay, wala kang t-shirt.
Ma'am?
Palagi mo itong ginagawa. Lumalabas ka ng bahay. Itong video, yung pinapakita namin ngayon. You do this. Hindi. Okay. Alright. So ito, ano nangyari? Lumapit na sa'yo yung police.
Yun nga po.
Bababa ko lang po yung meron.
Hinawakan po ako sa mga po. Tapos, pinipilit niya po ako.
Ano yung sinabi niya sa'yo? Bakit kanya kinukuha?
Yun nga po. Ayun naman na ako po ay walang...
I'm sorry, ano yun?
Kakadahilan ko po ay pang...
Wala siyang masabi sa'yo or meron siyang sinabi? Ano yung sinabi niya sa'yo kung bakit kailangan mo sumama?
Yun nga po, sinalit daw po. Inuulit po ang nakahubad.
Hinuhuli daw yung mga nakahubad. Ikaw naman, anong nasa isip mo? Bakit ka sumama?
Ma'am, ayaw ko ako sumama, kaya nag-ibig ako.
Ayaw ano?
Ayaw ko ako sumama, binukuha ako. Yan po, pinipilit.
Nakabukas ba yung TV mo, Jason?
Yes po.
Okay, ganito ha. Teka, technical issue to eh. Ibaba mo lang yung volume ng TV mo kasi maririnig mo ako sa telepono. Okay? Para hindi mag-feedback. Okay?
Okay po.
Binaba mo na yung volume?
No po.
Okay na. Binaba mo na yung volume ng TV. Okay. Sige, so sabi mo, lumapit yung pulis na yan sa'yo, tapos pilit kang sinasama, sumama ka, ang sabi lang niya sa'yo, bawal kasi yung yung walang t-shirt.
Opo, binang daw po kasi.
Okay. Tapos, saan ka sumakay at saan ka dinala?
Dinala po nila ako sa Police District 5.
District 5? Ano yan?
Station 5 po.
Station 5. Station 5. And then, ano nangyari doon? Pagdating mo doon, ano nangyari?
Yun nga po, kinuha po yung pangalan ko. And then, bago po ako pinauwi, pinaglinis po kami ng CR nila.
Clinic?
Pinaglinis po kami ng CR.
Pinaglinis ng CR.
Opo.
Okay,
Kasi, kasi sabi po ng pulis, kaysa ikulong daw po kami, paglinisin na lang daw po kami doon ng kung ano pong gawin sa lugar nila.
So kinuha lang yung pangalan mo, parang nilagay yung pangalan mo sa blotter nila, ganun ba?
Opo, parang ganun po, parang nirecord.
Tapos wala nang sinabi, para bang you violated this ordinance, ganon, walang ganoon.
Yun po, yung parang binalaan po nila kami na ganun po, alam na namin na bawal, wag na lang pong ulitin, parang ganun po yung sinabi nila.
Okay, anong araw to nangyari?
Father's Day po yun nung 17.
June 17, Sunday.
Sunday.
Kailan mo in-upload? Itong video na ito galing sa, CCTV?
Opo, yes po, sa CCTV po namin.
CCTV ninyo, sa bahay nyo. So kinuha mo siya, in-upload mo sa Facebook. Ano naging reaction ng mga tao?
Iba-iba po, may nagsasabi po na mali yung ginawa. Meron din naman na dapat sumusunod na lang sa batas.
Sumusunod sa batas na ano?
Tulad nga po yun nga po, pagka yung bawal pong maghubad na sa kalye.
Okay, so after that, naglinis ka ng CR, tapos pinauwi ka na, ano na nangyari? After na nag-upload ka sa Facebook, tapos
So, ano pa po yun eh. Nung sa presinto po ako, tumagal pa po ako ng kalating oras dun eh.
Okay. Okay.
Dahil nga po pinaglinis kami ng CR, and then yung wife ko po, nagpunta po siya dun sa presinto na yun. So, kinausap niya po yung mga polis, bakit nga daw po ganun na pinuli ako eh, wala naman po ako sa kalsada. Lumabas lang naman ako ng kotse sa bahay namin.
Okay. Have you ever been arrested for anything else?
Tapos sabi pa po ng isang polis, kung may reklamo naman daw kami, pwede naman daw kami mag-file.
Magreklamo?
Opo, parang ganun.
Na-aresto ka na ba dati for anything else?
Hindi po, hindi.
Hindi. First time mo ito?
Yes po.
Okay. Kinabahan ka ba? Ano ba yung pakiramdam mo pag nung dinala ka? Ha?
Kinabahan ako ma'am kasi takot ako makulong eh.
Takot ka makulong?
Opo.
Saan ka takot?
Sa mga kasamaan sa loob kasi minsan nambubugbog sila eh.
Nambubugbog. Pero hindi ka pinasok dun sa selda?
Ay, hindi po ma'am.
Hindi. Okay. And then, today, tinanggal mo sa Facebook, hindi ba? Yung video.
Tinanggal ko na po ma'am.
Bakit?
Para po, kasi dami na po comment eh, kung iba-iba yung mga sinasabi nila ma'am.
Okay.
So, para matigil na rin.
Okay. Sabi mo, yung isang pulis sinabi niya na pwede ka naman magreklamo. Magre-reklamo ka ba?
Hindi na lang ma'am.
Bakit? Bakit hindi?
Hindi na lang ma'am humaba yung issue.
Bakit? Maabala ka pa? Ganon? Or natatakot ka? Why don't you want to complain?
Parang natatakot na rin ma'am na may halong kaba. Kasi hindi naman natin masabi yung mga policemen kung ano kaya nilang gawin.
Okay. O sige, Jason, andito si General Eliazar, nakikinig siya sa iyo, no? General Eliazar, can you just give us your reaction to this? Sa kwento lang niya ni Jason.
Oh, well, kung makikita natin doon, Jason did not actually went out of the house. Nasa premise lang siya. Kaya kung
Okay.
tutuusin doon, pwede naman kasing caution yun. But I think the police, what is done is that in-invite niya o dinala sa police station, hindi naman para ikulong, hindi para kasuhan, para bigyan ng warning. But just the same, mas maganda sana ginawa niya doon, isinabihan na niya on the spot na hindi ka dapat lalabas, lalayo dahil bawal ang maglakad sa kalsada na nakahubad.
Bawal talaga.
Yes,
There
bawal
is an
talaga. There's an
ordinance that
ordinance.
does not allow that.
Yes.
Sa kalsada.
Yes,
Pero
public
kitang-kita
place.
naman, nandun siya within, hindi pa nga lumampas dun sa yung wall ng house, ano?
Yeah. Kaya kung
Okay.
tingnan natin doon, ang pinakamaganda sana gawin is kinotion na lang.
Okay.
Doon, bawal lumabas dyan, pero gano'n na lang, hindi na kailangan pang dalhin siya sa presinto and then paglinisan ng CR at saka pauwiin.
Yeah, at least malinis ang CR, parang gano'n. Pero, sir, yung hindi na nga siya lumabas, tapos dinala siya sa presinto. Pag gano'n, sir, what is if Jason were to mag-file ng reklamo, ano yung pwede niyang gawin?
Well, in the first place, kung titingnan natin, wala pa talagang violation ng ordinance during the time. So, dapat is hindi siya dinala sa police station.
No, but if you're saying na hindi siya dapat dinala ng police dun sa station, so what is the police officer there, what should he be held liable for?
Well, abuse of
Sorry.
authority, that could be one. Dahil nga sa hindi naman kailangan dalhin doon. Before kasi, nung wala pang clear guidelines, they invite those who are violating these ordinances, and pagdating doon, kinakausap, pero pinakakawalan din, hindi naman pinapalan ng kaso.
Okay. Pero hindi na po pwede yung invite.
Yes,
Hindi po ba?
so-
We cannot invite for questioning. As a matter of fact, if there is a police officer who tells us, iniimbita ko namin kayo pumunta sa istasyon, pwede no thank you. Pwede pong mag-no
ganun,
thank you, ganon.
Of course. Actually, yun ang gusto natin educate ang ating mga kababayan na there's no such thing as invitation kasi it's tantamount to arrest, di ba? Parang matatakot ka. Well, of course, kung ating kapulisan, they have the reasons to believe na talagang kailangan dalhin siya, he'll be accountable for whatever circumstances na mangyayari doon.
Yeah, okay. Well, do you encourage Jason? You can talk to him straight now, sir, no? Do you encourage him to file a complaint or what? Or okay na yung ganito?
Well, actually,
I mean, how do
Jason
we
yun.
resolve something like this? Because baka maulit na naman, hindi po ba? It will become a
Ngayon kasi may
problem.
mga clear guidelines na, and because of this, na-expose natin itong mga nangyayari, just like what happened in Makati. Then because of that, we relieved the precinct commander as well as the desk officer. So in this particular case na nakita rin to ng lahat, alam nila kung saan sila lulugar. And the police now, with the guidelines that came out coming from the PNP leadership, the instruction of the PNP chief, Jal Bayalde, is kailangang sundin natin yung procedure. We cannot arrest anybody who is not committing any offense or violation of city ordinance. On in that case, hindi pa napalabas pa lang siya eh. So what should have been done is that kinotion na lang siya at hindi na dinala pa.
Yeah. Are you going to try and find out who this policeman is or?
Well, that's Fairview, Station 5. So I can
okay.
talk to the station commander and find out who is this. And kasama na ito doon sa mga bagong guidelines na binibigay natin para hindi na mauulit pa.
Yeah. Do we really need guidelines? Because, di ba alam naman ng pulis yan,
Totoo
di ba?
yun.
Alam nyo naman kung ano yung ordinance. You know what to do in case.
There's general guidelines, but the point is, nakita natin ba yung parang boundary ng kanilang authority? So, we should be aware of that. Dahil sa atin, gusto natin paalam sa ating mga kababayan that we will not be tolerating any irregularities or misdeeds of our policemen.
Yeah. Can you speak directly to Jason, sir? Can you tell him what's the best thing for him to do? And also address his fear. Sabi niya kasi, natakot siya. Natakot siya.
Yes, Jason, nagpapasalamat kami sa inyo dahil nilabas nyo itong inyong experience. But mas maganda sana if kung willing ka is mag-complain ka para maipaalam natin sa lahat na kung may mga pagkakamali dapat nating maitama. But just the same, hindi kayo dapat matakot dahil ang ating kapulisan, lalo ang mga pamunuan nito, will not tolerate itong mga pag-aabuso ng ating kapulisan. And we need your reports, we need your complaints so that we can act on this.
Jason?
Yes po.
Okay, just a reaction from you and then we'll let you go na. Ano lang yung sagot mo kay General Eliazar sa sinabi niya?
Ma'am?
Narinig mo yung sinabi ni General Eliazar?
Yes po, yes po.
Oh, ano lang yung reaction mo sa kanya? Ano yung sagot mo? Or nasagot ka pa ba?
Ang akin lang po, sir, yung wag po saan silang, yung tipong magdadampot na lang po ng tao sa dadalhin nila sa presinto. Kasi hindi naman po lahat ng inuuli nila may mga nagagawa ng kasalanan.
Yes,
O, yun lang po.
Yes, tama yun, Jason. That's why it has to be reiterated to our policemen to do what is proper. And any violation of this will be dealt with accordingly.
All right, Jason, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and thank you for allowing us to use that video of yours. Let's get a reaction first from Commissioner Gana and Mr. Abisamis to this.
Well, I agree with the General that indeed, at that particular point in time, Jason did not commit any crime. So therefore, he could not have been just invited to the precinct, you know. And it is very good that they have come out with guidelines already, because apparently, some policemen are not so sure of what to do in implementing an ordinance. So, you know, an ordinance is only good within the area that it has been enacted by example, a city or a municipality. So the validity of that ordinance is only for that particular area. So it cannot be applied, an ordinance in Quezon City cannot be applied in Baguio. So if there's no such same ordinance, so the policemen should be aware of these things. And they should actually be briefed before they are sent out to the streets that, hey, these are the ordinances in this particular locality. And maybe remind also the citizens, the local governments, and maybe the barangay could go out and remind the citizens what are these ordinances. So at least there would be a meeting of the minds between the police and the community that these are violations that need to be addressed by the police if the time comes.
Mr. Abisamis?
It appears that there is an intensified campaign against violators of ordinances. What the video reveals is that Jason was brought to the police station, was asked to clean the toilet because of a certain violation as far as the policeman that invited or that brought him to the precinct is concerned. So there has to be a clear-cut understanding of the ordinance that is being implemented. What is actually or what constitutes violation of the ordinance? So if it is very clear already, then I believe that the policemen should implement the ordinance as worded.
Okay, we're going to have to take a short break. On the record, we'll be right back. We still have plenty to talk about on this issue. Stay tuned.
Hindi naman yan martial law. Malayong malayo sa martial law. Even you look at martial law in Mindanao, malayong malayo. Ito lang para lang sa kaayusan ng community. Hindi naman yun talagang kahit sino na lang ay inuhuli. Yun talagang mismong nagre-reklamo na rin yung mga taga roon, barangay, na eto mga tao na to, na-intimidate pati yung mga pupuntang mga taga-ibang lugar.
Hindi sila inaresto dahil tambay lang sila. Inaresto sila dahil may paglabag sila sa batas or ordinances. So kaya nga po yung number ang pinag-uusapan natin. Sabi ko, imposibleng 7,000 sa Metro Manila alone, no? Na ikukulong mo yan dahil wala tayong espasyo. Kaya sinasabi ko, karamihan doon sinita lang. Yung mga inaresto dahil hindi sila tumatambay lang. Inaresto dahil habang tumatambay, meron din ginagawang krimen. Whether be it breach of anti-smoking ordinance, breach of curfew for minors, breach for drinking alcoholic drinks in public. Kasi pati mga barangay po, may mga ganyang mga ordinances, no? Mga city and municipal ordinances, may mga ganyan po. No? So depending on where you are.
Even without the directive of the President previously, lalo na sa NCRPO, we've been already implementing these ordinances. Nagkaroon lang ng controversy yan, it's because no less than the President sinabi niyan. And the word standby, probably it was overused lang or inadvertently used by this policemen dahil yun ang word na ginamit. Basically, yung sinasabing standby, parang ano yun parang it's a common word lang. Yung pagkasabi ng kung ano. Pero kung titignan natin yung pinaguhuli nila, they have specific cases. They have specific violations and not the word standby ang kanilang kaso.
You're watching On the Record. We're talking about apprehending loiterers and arming barangay officials as ways to keep communities safe. Still with us, Chief Superintendent Guillermo Eleazar, NCRPO Chief Edmund Abisamis, President of the Liga ng mga Barangay, and Gwen Pimentel-Gana, Human Rights Commissioner. Speaking of Istambay, there's that old song, Istambay dyan sa kanto. I guess it's making a comeback, but Florin Hilbay, former Solicitor General, he was tweeting just a few days ago, what's wrong with arresting tambays? And he says, and we quote, empowers police to arrest anyone they don't like. It's a virtual license to harass and extort from citizens. And then he says, it is also unconstitutional. So let's settle this once and for all. Where in the Constitution does it say we can arrest mga istambay dyan sa kanto? Is it unconstitutional? Commissioner Gana, Mr. Abisamis, and General Eleazar, is it unconstitutional? What is the unconstitutional thing here?
Yes, actually, nagkaroon lang misunderstanding. We are arresting those who are violators of crimes or ordinances, but for those who are not committing anything, so we will not arrest them.
That is when it becomes unconstitutional.
Yes.
So unconstitutional yung nangyari kay Jason.
Yes.
Unconstitutional yung nangyari sa Guadalupe.
Oh, tama, malinaw yun.
Okay.
And we are not tolerating that. Actually, kaya nga tinatanggal natin yung mga pulis na ganun, because they're violating what is supposed to be done.
Okay, but there are, of course, the many cities and one municipality, Metro Manila, they all have their
Own
ordinances that should be implemented and should be followed.
And the police know the ordinances in their places. Actually, ini-implement them. But just like what the Chief PNP has said, matagal natin ginagawa ito and we have been effective on this campaign. That's why the crimes has reduced from 49% for the past 2 years compared with the 2 years before that. And that is because of the intervention that we have done, one of which is this implementation and enforcement of city ordinances.
Okay. Mr. Abisamis and Commissioner Gana, when a former Solicitor General says, and we quote, by the way, it's also unconstitutional, how are we supposed to understand that?
Well, for me, I think what is very important is that the police should lay the basis of where are they coming from when they say that they're arresting these people. And now they've said that it's based on ordinances and local legislation, no? But the problem here is that I don't think people really understand, because when they implemented this particular op-plan of theirs, it was like done in a national scale, general scale, without really going into specifics that says that, oh, we're just implementing this kind of ordinance in Quezon City, in Manila. So it came all together and it created a culture of fear because people were saying, that, oh, you mean to say even if I'm not doing anything, they can just grab me? So it lacks information on the public. And I think it's a question of trust also on the police. Unfortunately, it's so sad that people seem at this time to still keep on saying if the police are sincere in their wanting to protect and serve the people. And I think it's one thing that the police authorities will have to show. And I'm glad that actually General Eleazar and even General Albayalde are coming out and saying to the public verbally that we have to protect human rights. I think that's everything. It's everything to the people to hear that assurance from the police. So it is also good to know that they have come up actually with guidelines on how the policemen should implement the enforcement of these ordinances. So these are reassuring acts from the police.
But shouldn't it also be our responsibility as citizens and residents in any of the cities of Metro Manila or the one municipality? Shouldn't we be responsible? Shouldn't we know kung ano yung mga ordinances where we live? And there are common sense laws also that I mean, di ba, there are things that we should be following. I mean, we should follow the law because hindi po ba? Isn't that what we're...
Well, yes. Ideally, it is the way it should be. And people should go out and actually know their rights and be able to protect and stand up for these rights. However, as we know, people don't really care so much, so they leave it up to government to inform them. And that's why the role of the barangay is really very important. Before, somebody reminded me that when we were young, the barkers would go around the barangay and say, oh, may ordinansa tayo na ganito, ganyan. I don't know, now they have so many
there's social
media and all, that's better. So maybe let's just be more proactive also, knowing that our citizens are a bit, resilient.
Okay. Mr. Abisamis, what should the barangays do?
Well, I have my reaction also to the comment of former Solicitor General Hilbay. What I think he's saying that is unconstitutional is arresting a tambay for being a tambay, not for violation of an ordinance, because being a tambay is not a criminal offense. As a matter of fact, before it was.
Yes. Sa anti-vagrancy.
Anti-vagrancy, but it was decriminalized in 2012.
Right.
So, if it's not a criminal act and you arrest that person who has not committed an act, so that is unconstitutional.
At saka meron naman po tayong mga, informal settler communities na alam naman natin lahat kung gaano kainit. So, they cannot stay inside their home, so they come out into the streets, medyo half-dressed.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. That is something that all people do, especially in the provinces. So I do not think if there is no ordinance prohibiting going out of the street half naked, then there is no violation.
Then there is no violation.
There's no violation. There's no crime.
Well, how can barangays be more proactive? That is the word Commissioner Gana used earlier. What can you do?
Well, if these things are happening, probably what the barangays can do is to really study also what the ordinances are, and probably inform the people about the existence of these laws together with the law enforcement agencies, so that the people will also be educated as to what are being prohibited and what are not.
Yeah, okay. General Elgazar, there's another factor here, diba? Crime prevention. And perhaps sometimes the police are, you're extra vigilant because you're trying to prevent a crime. And sometimes you get criticized also for not having prevented the crime. Yung mga ganitong mga oplan ninyo, operations or implementing local ordinances, is this part of your crime prevention efforts, to keep the community safe?
Yes, that's correct. Actually, the petty crimes, if the petty crimes will not be addressed, there's a tendency to create an urban environment that encourages more petty crimes to happen, and eventually serious crime will happen. So that the approach is that habang maliit pa siya, the best approach in policing is to address the problem while it's still small.
Para bang nip it in the bud.
Yes.
So in other words, a group of nakatambay, for example, drinking by the street, is a potential...
Yes, and it's good that we have ordinance against drinking in public. So pwede mo silang arrestuhin. But for those who are not committing any crimes and they're staying, for example, in WERs, sa lugar na ilang na lugar, so the tendency, the police have to approach them and to inform them, to ask them kung saan sila galing or kung saan ba sila katira, so that they will not be victimized by lawless elements and hindi sila maging potential lawbreakers.
Okay. In other words, para bang the police should just continue, they patrol, hindi po ba? You patrol, that's part of policing, di ba?
Yes. Kasama yun, crime prevention. We'll go one step ahead na hindi lang maghuli ka ng violators, but to prevent the crimes or petty crimes
from taking place. Some of the reaction from the public is that they like this. They like it na people are being rounded up, for lack of a better term, because they see this precisely as crime prevention. And all the networks have all of these interviews, no? And just today we had some, they're saying, ang daming tambay dito, mabuti nga, kinukuha muna sila or something to prevent gulo. So merong ganoon din eh. There is some in the citizenry who feel safer when the streets are quiet, kapag walang malaking grupo ng mga tambay na umiinom dyan or whatever. So how do we look at that, Mr. Abisamis?
rounding up these people because they can be potential
Yeah.
criminals. I think
That's not a good enough excuse.
that's not good enough excuse.
Yeah. Okay.
Because what is punishable, what constitutes a crime, are overt acts, not covert acts. If it is only in the mind of a person to commit a crime, then there is no crime yet. It is only
okay.
when he begins to implement through overt acts
Yeah.
that a crime is happening.
Yeah, okay. Although earlier, si John Eliazar na nga was explaining, hindi po ba, sir, no? Parang bang you're trying to prevent something
Yes.
from escalating from a small gulo or something
Yes,
to
but
something
we have
bigger.
to be clear on this.
Yeah.
Now, for those who are committing crimes, pwedeng kausapin naman and palalahanan. So, klaro naman po yun. It's not against the tambays, but those who are violators. Gusto natin ibalik kasi yun. That's kasi hindi tayo nagkaintindihan in the first place. But Secretary Harry Roque have just said that this operation is not against tambays, but those who are violators of laws and ordinances.
Laws and ordinances,
So
local
simple lang.
ordinances. Oo.
The police should implement this
Yeah.
by the letter,
Oo.
and there should not be any abuse
Right.
that the police should
Yeah.
do.
At the same time, the citizens should follow the law.
Yes, that's it.
Dapat lang, di ba? Okay, we'll just take a short break on the record. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Pabor kami doon, sir. Kasi ay tulad kami, mga ano kami, naglalakad kami diyan. Siyempre hindi naman po maiwasan na maano ka matakot kami, di ba?
Depende po kasi sa lugar. Kasi po minsan po napagkakamalan pong tambay yung mga nagtatrabaho sa gabi, na nanigarilyo lang, mukha ng tambay, hindi naman po.
Oo, pabor ako doon. Kasi yung mga tambay dyan sa yung mga nagiinuman ganyan, pag nalasing, maghahanap ng gulo, ganyan. Tapos yung mga ibang tambay din, mga tulak lang yan.
Oo, walang ginagawa tambay lang. na magtrabaho sila.
Hindi naman lahat ng mga tambay gumagawa ng masama eh. Saka yung iba, ay siyempre walang magawa.
Hindi po siguro. Kasi syempre yung demokrasya at saka isa pa, bago hulihin dapat meron siyang kasalanan na pwedeng basihan ng paghuhuli sa kanya.
Do not be afraid to go after the criminals. You know, yung kalsada sa amin, Visayas yung kalsada, yung highways, we built it for the law-abiding citizen. Ang mga kriminal dapat dyan, ang mga durugista, they are not supposed to be there. So, my directive is, pag mag-standby na sa inyo, umuwi kayo. Kaya pag hindi kayo umuwi, hatid ko kayo dyan sa opisina ni Pasig. Unang bahala, ilagay mo lang dyan. Talian yung kamay pati, ihulog ko yan dyan sa... Do not, you be strict. Part of confronting people who do not do nothing and just idling around, they are potential trouble for the public. Sundin lang ninyo yung utos ko. Wala namang ina-aresto. I just don't want you using the streets to loiter.
Oh, in his own words na yan, sabi niya, pag may nakita, umuwi kayo. Pauwiin na lang. Huwag namang arestuhin, pero pauwiin lang.
Oo nga. Yung sinasabi nga ni General na a-arrest, invite lang, wala nang ganun ngayon.
Yes,
di ba?
wala
Hindi
na.
na pwede. Di ba ganun? Oo. So ako, I would like to suggest na there are other ways naman of policing and ensure a secure environment. So bakit hindi magkaroon ng increased police presence, lighted areas, maybe maybe more CCTV cameras all over. So there are other ways na to
Sagot na yan ng
discourage
city at
also.
municipality at ng barangay,
Oo,
yung ilaw tsaka yung CCTV, di ba?
But it should complement, yes.
Yeah.
Kasi complement, pero tuloy pa rin tayo dun sa ating enforcement ng ordinance, pero properly. Di ba?
Properly, oh. And anyway, that is community policing. And sir, I guess it is more challenging in Metro Manila.
Yes.
Because it is so densely populated. You have there's so much potential for trouble. Ganun po
Yes.
ba?
Kaya nga, well, tama yun. So, this should complement the lightings as well as those police visibility. But still, we have to enforce this by the book, but of course, no abuse.
Okay.
No abuse.
Sir, so by the book, no abuse. So, there will be very strict guidelines, right?
Yes,
That you are
actually,
coming up with, or do you
there's
really
no
need guidelines?
Yeah, there's
Walang
general
need, di ba?
guidelines.
It is
You know,
common, it is ano?
Yes. You can only arrest those who are violating something, di ba?
Yeah.
So you cannot arrest those people who are not doing anything. So that's it. So, but the sound judgment is that we should be more tolerant to the people. We can caution. Actually, for those who are just conglomerating, we can approach and inform them. And just like what the president said, pauwiin na lang.
Yeah, oo.
And then-
Or at least lumapit, yung police pwedeng lumapit, medyo makinig, parang what do you call it? Yung ramdam, ano yun?
Tanungin niya po,
Tanungin, try to find out what's going on. Ganon, di ba?
Yes.
Ganon lang. Okay. Pero but maybe ang kailangan a reminder for the police, lalo na those who are out on patrols as to how to do it, that they cannot invite people and
Yeah, I'm sure that because of what has happened in Makati and also in Quezon City, the relief of the commander, even though it's not related with the implementation of the ordinance,
Yes.
Ang ating police ngayon will be very cautious on implementing this enforcement.
Yeah.
So, and the people now know their rights, so it's meeting of the minds, just like what you have said. So I believe that we can be more effective on this with the cooperation and support of each other.
yeah. Sir, do you have a problem more with the lower ranking police officers than those who are, yung mga colonels, generals, halimbawa?
Yeah, actually, it's the implementers or those who are in the grounds. So actually, it's just common sense, di ba? Parang common sense lang yun, the implementation of the law. Just follow what should have been done. So, but we are continually reiterating and reminding our personnel with these guidelines and protocols that we should follow.
Okay. So you've relieved an officer sa Makati, you've relieved someone sa Quezon City. So far, at this time, wala namang kayong ibang natatanggap na reports or complaints?
Yes, but
mga
we
reklamo?
welcome complaints. That's why we are here. The public is listening to us. So if there's any complaint or an abuse that you have, feel free to approach us. And we won't hesitate to help you and to correct the misdeeds of our personnel if there are.
Yeah, but of course, you're not naman looking forward to sa mga reklamo,
I don't
no?
think so.
You hope na wala na.
Yes, I hope so.
You hope na wala na magkamali.
Actually, sa dami-dami ng ating na-aresto, kakunti lang naman yan, di ba? Wala namang perfect na organization. Pero sa atin is that, actually, I would like to commend and recognize our police personnel, almost all who are doing their job. But for those few who are not doing their job, so dapat naman bibigyan natin sila ng corresponding sanction after investigation.
Yeah, okay. Yung relief, kasi civilians don't usually understand what is the importance of relieving a police officer from his position.
Yes, actually dalawa yung sinibak sa position and sinibak sa serbisyo. When you say sinibak sa position, he's just being relieved in his position. So he could be transferred to anywhere, may sweldo pa rin yan. So that is what we can do immediately. Lalo na kung commander siya, tanggalin mo siya sa kanyang position. So malaking kabawasan sa kanya in terms of his position. But the masibak sa serbisyo, then that is after due process. So a complaint must be filed, it will be investigated, if probable cause exists, then yun na yung
Although some civilians kasi also, parang they don't take it seriously. Parang, totoo ba yan? O sinibak mo, pero andyan pa rin, But what does it, can you tell us, ano ba yung psychological makeup ng officer? Kunyari, sinibak mo siya sa posisyon, what does it do to the officer? So that, yung maintindihan naman ng mga civilian na, why is that seen as a punishment?
Well, yung immediately, yung pagkasibak sa posisyon, of course, where you're holding a position like you're a commander, marilib ka doon is parang hindi maganda for you, the reputation. So, yun ang pwede natin gawin, and we can transfer him to one place na medyo malayo sa kanya. So, that's what we can do initially. But eventually, yung after the case has been filed and nagkaroon investigation and find out na may kasalanan talaga siya, yun ngayon bibigyan siya ng sanction. It's either suspension or dismissal. But meron due process yun. Pero yung pagtatanggal sa pwesto niya, that's the discretion of the commanders.
Okay. Earlier, we were talking about we should have more lighted areas, CCTV na sasagutin ata ng mga city at municipality, mga barangay. But I was wondering about, this has been a long-running debate, no? And maybe the police should have body cams. It doesn't protect just the citizens, but the police also. But I wanted to ask you, General Eliazar, about that, especially for Metro Manila Police. But we'll take a short break first. On the record, we'll be right back.
Pagka nasa labas ka, nasa tambay ka at umiinom o kung ano lang ginagawa mo, okay lang po yun. Pero pagka yung may binili lang, halimbawa at nalabas na sinuli ka, hindi na ho ano yun dapat.
Kailangan din lang kausapin ng maayos bago nila hulihin.
Oo, pwede rin po. Kasi para mabawasan yung mga tambay dito sa, sa bayan natin.
Conforme sa tambay. Ay, iba, hindi naman tambay. Nagpapahinga lang sila sa labas dahil mainit sa loob ng bahay nila. Hindi ako pabor sa mga pulis na abusado.
Pero mas maganda na rin yung ganung mangyayari kasi nababawasan yung kriminalidad.
For the last stretch of our program, welcome back to On the Record. Still with us, Chief Superintendent Guillermo Eliazar, NCRPO Chief Edmund Abisamis, President of the Liga ng Mga Barangay, and Gwen Pimentel-Gana, Human Rights Commissioner. General Eliazar, body cams.
Yes. We haven't issued yet appropriate number of body cams, but I believe that the PNP leadership has a program to buy these things for us. However, the different LGUs in the country, in particular in Metro Manila, have their own plans and the intention to buy body cams for the police.
They're very welcome to do that.
Yes.
Ganon.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Abisamis, sa Liga ng Barangay, do you want to be armed?
Well,
to help in this community policing? Is that the right thing? Is that the right way to go?
Well, I have conferred with the punong barangays, and actually even before this arming of barangays have been a hot issue, there has been talks from among the barangay officials already that they have to implement the law that entitles punong barangays to bear arms and to carry firearms. Because under the Local Government Code of 1991, there is already a provision which states that punong barangays are entitled to possess and carry firearms, but there are conditions. One condition is that the entitlement to carry should be within their territorial jurisdiction only. And number two, carrying the firearm must be in the performance of their peace and order functions. And number three, it's still subject to existing rules and regulations. They are not exempt from complying.
But do barangay officials have the training for that? I mean, just a few months back, we had an incident here on Shaw Boulevard.
Yes.
The barangay officials shooting at a vehicle.
Well, there has to be a training, and as stated in the law, that there has to be compliance with existing rules and regulations. That includes passing the neuro exam.
Yeah, but can't you help in maintaining peace and order even if you are not armed?
Well, as I have mentioned,
because I mean, you're
yes.
very different from police officers. I mean, no matter how many hours of training you go through, you won't be able to approximate the training they go through. Hindi
Well,
ba?
definitely, the barangay officials can help even if they are not armed. But there are instances also when barangay officials provide information to the police, and when the operation is not successful based on the information given by the barangay officials, then these barangay officials become the target of the syndicates already. So they have to have something to protect themselves. These weapons are not weapons of offense, but weapons of defense.
Okay. We're in the last 4 minutes of the show, so I wanted to give you all the chance to give your final words. Let's begin with Commissioner Igana. You can, well, you know, what is your message for, not just for the police, you've been talking to the police earlier, but, you know, your message for civilians, for citizens?
Well, for everyone, no, you have to be aware of your rights to be able to fight for them. And as we always know, nobody can fight for your rights except yourself. But you can ask support from, example, the community, civil society, the media, the Commission on Human Rights even. But you have to have the resolve to fight and go the extra mile in fighting for your rights. I mean, Jason, of course, is an example whereby he has decided not to pursue a case against the police officer who accosted him. But the more important thing is that, well, he had the choice, and he should have the courage to see it through if he really believes that his rights were trampled upon.
Okay, and there is no such thing as inviting.
Yes.
You can be brought by the police if you had violated the crime.
Yes,
and you most
definitely.
probably would know if you had violated the crime, right?
Everybody's
Or a law.
presumed to be innocent, you know.
Violated a law, sorry, not
but-
violated the crime.
yes.
Committed a crime, sorry.
Yeah. And
Okay.
we know that it's an illegal arrest if they, you know, invite you. It's already a form of an illegal arrest, and they can be charged for that. I mean, these authorities who committed that.
But definitely the police can bring you if you committed a crime or
Definitely,
violated the law.
definitely.
Or violated a local ordinance. Okay. Mr. Bisamis, final words po.
Well, the responsibility to keep peace and order and to fight criminality is not just a function of the PNP or the barangay officials. It is the responsibility of every law-abiding citizen. So in order to address all these issues, there has to be community participation. Everybody should be involved, all sectors of the community, including the religious, regardless of denomination. So there has to be a concerted effort of everyone.
All right, thank you, sir. General Eliazar, you can address the citizens, civilians, and the police force of Metro Manila.
Yes, I would like to clear it with the public that you shouldn't be afraid of what we are doing. It's for your protection. And we would like to make it simple that in the course of our implementation, we are only arresting or accosting those who are violating existing laws and ordinance. Other than that, we will not arrest anybody. So it needs your cooperation. What we've been doing is for crime prevention, and it's for the good of everyone. So petty crime is happening, and as much as possible, we don't want that more petty crimes to happen. So crime prevention is very important, and it needs the cooperation of each and every one of us.
Pero dapat sumunod sa batas.
Yes, dapat sumunod tayo sa batas. And
Just make that
we are committed to check on the abuses of our personnel if there's any, so that we need your cooperation. You have to report this to us so that we can act on this.
Yeah, well, there's social media, and that's why you were able to act on the Argoncillo case, and well, depende na sa kay Jason, ano?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much for our guests tonight. Commissioner Gana, thank you very much for being here, ma'am. Mr. Abisamis, Liga ng mga Barangay, thank you, sir, for being here. And General Eliazar, sir, thank you very much for being here. And thank you for joining us. This is On the Record. I'm Pia Hontiveros.